All right. Well, hey, welcome to the On the Hunt podcast. Takes a minute for YouTube to kind of catch up to where we are. So hopefully you are able to see us right now, and hopefully we won't have any issues a little bit later on like we did last time we tried to do this. But hey, we have got a packed house tonight for you. We have got Reggie Funches in the building, Nate Rucker, and Bobby Bless. We're going to start off by saying hello to Bobby Bless today. Bobby, you are the #1 Lions fan we know. How are you doing today, my friend?
Where are you football season? I like the NBA, but it ain't football, man. Other than that, I'm doing good. How about you, brother?
Well, I am doing really, really well. And I got to wonder, who's your basketball team that you are following? Is your team still alive right now?
No, man, I don't really have no team, man. For real, for real. I do, Detroit Lions is my favorite team in every damn sport. I don't really concentrate it on it like that. I like certain players. I like certain teams and from the past, but shoot, I just like to see a good game to be for real, my man. I don't got no basketball hats in this house.
All right. Well, hey, Nate, how's it going over there? I know the Pistons aren't alive.
Hell no.
Nah, they gonna be all right though. But hey, man, it's a good afternoon, man. Clear blue sky, sitting on the deck, water, stogies, sponsored by Nica Libre. So, man, I'm telling, ready to do our thing.
And Reggie Funches, he's got the sunglasses on. He looks like Morpheus over there. Red pill, blue pill. How's it going?
He ain't playing. He ain't playing.
Slow motion, brother. Just got out the trap, so you know how that go.
Well, hey,
he's in the trap.
That's right. That's why you got to get a bee catcher. Anyway, so we got a lot to discuss tonight, and we're gonna go kind of quick because we all have got some different things that we want to get to after the show is done. First, though, we're going to do something that we don't normally do. We're going to talk about a different team than our Detroit Lions, and that is going to be the Colorado Buffaloes. Now, you know that I'm a Georgia Tech fan. You know that Nate is a Michigan/Georgia fan. I'm not sure. Real quick, Reggie, do you have a college team you follow?
Michigan.
Okay. And then, Bobby, you follow, like, Toledo whenever they're on, right?
Yeah. But, like I said about the basketball, I just try to watch a good game. But, yeah, I love the Rockets. I went to the University of Toledo, so I figure I'm bound to take care of my guys.
Okay.
But, yeah.
So, as you can tell, nobody on the panel is a Colorado fan, all right? So, whenever we talk about this, understand that we're not coming at it as like a fan of this team. We're just coming at it because it's an interesting story, and we know other folks are talking about this. So, let's talk about what's going on at Colorado. Obviously, unless you've been living under a rock or been in a coma, then you know that Deion Sanders is head coach at Colorado. That's a big deal for them. They just had a spring game where they actually charged admission for folks to get in, and they sold the stadium out for a spring game. Think about that for a second. For a spring game, they sold it out. That does not normally happen at Colorado. So that was a big deal for them.
82,000.
Big deal for them. They were on ESPN for the spring game. Everybody was loving it. However, behind the scenes, it's been a little bit of a different story because Colorado has had a lot of people leave their roster. Now, I want to put this in perspective for you because every college has players that leave, all right, and jump into the portal ever since the portal existed. So let's put this in perspective before we say the number of people leaving Colorado, okay? So back in 2022, Oregon and South Florida had 44 players enter the transfer portal. All right, so that was those two teams. Back in 2020, Tennessee had 46 players depart. In 2022, Ole Miss had 48 players depart. In 2021, the previous record holder, Arkansas State, had 50 players depart. Now, that could be for a variety of reasons. Obviously, some players leave because they feel like they're not going to get an opportunity to play unless they're playing on a different team. And other guys, it's other things that, make them want to leave their team. But for Colorado, the previous record was 50 by Arkansas State. They've had 71 players leave their program so far. since Deion Sanders became head coach. That's 71. Previous record was 50. Now, I have thoughts on this, but I want to turn it over to Nate first. Nate, obviously, we covered it when Deion got the job at Colorado.
Yeah.
That was only a few months ago, but that was also 71 players ago. So put that in perspective for people. What's happening here?
Well, outside of that, how many games did Colorado win last year?
One.
So that means that you lost 71 players off a one-win team. Colorado right now is number one when they're talking about transfer portal signees. They're ranked number one. So they pretty much lost 71 guys who were just getting participation trophies.
Oh, sorry,
And
it was
he's
whack.
picked up guys that were 4-star, 5-star, some 3s. Now you're talking about, and not small college guys. You're talking about guys from Tennessee, guys from Alabama, guys from Georgia, guys from Texas, and some of his guys from Jackson State
That are
who
coming
went there.
in. Yeah.
Right, who are going with him. So it's one of them things. You know, one of the things that people hate is change. You know, as we talked about it earlier in the year, it was, you know, the perception of Deion is one thing. What you see, what he say, there was always crisscross about what he did leaving Jackson State. I mean, prime time is prime time. He's must-see TV. He's not a guy who's going to hold his tongue. It's going to be too soft for some players, and it's going to be right what you need, you know, as we said in our planning session. Don't sugarcoat them. Let them know, hey, if you're good enough or you're not. Hey, you might be good enough to go to Idaho State, but the criteria for Colorado has just went up, and you're not good enough to make this team. So, hey, it is what it is, Reg.
I got some numbers for you.
That's what I'm talking about.
Colorado finished 2022 with a 1-11 record.
Mm-hmm.
Those 11 games that they lost was by an average of 29 points a game.
Damn.
They was getting smoked like both Phillies.
They lost 10
rolled up,
games by 23 or more, and 3 games by 42 or more.
Wow.
On offense, they were able to top 21 points on one occasion. And the defense allowed at least 38 points in 11 games. I don't even see why we have a problem with them booty kids
Let them go.
going somewhere else. As a matter of fact, I don't even know another team that would accept them. But if I'm Deion Sanders, first of all, this is what you expected when you bring in Deion Sanders. He ain't about to sit up here and stand pat. He ain't about to take the status quo. He gonna make his moves.
Right.
He already said, I'm bringing my own luggage. And it's Louis Vuitton. He said. So all these people that got a problem and the kids, man, come on. You got a chance to go somewhere else. Clearly you're not good enough to be there for him. Why would you want to play for him if you don't want you? I don't see what you're complaining about. And to be honest, I don't see how that program was even functioning last year. This is another crazy stat. They got the fourth worst point differential for any Power 5 school in the century. Not in the last 10 years, not the last 20, the last 100 years.
That's crazy for Colorado to, if people don't know, a lot of people thought, you know, when Deion went, they were saying it's a predominantly, you know, Caucasian school, which is actually kind of far-fetched because 5 out of the last 6 coaches have been African-American. So it's kind of crazy. But a school that has sent guys from there to the NFL, you know, some very, very historic moments I came out of there. So it's for that school to fall off that far and that hard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hell, Mel Tucker ain't been gone that long, has he?
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. And you know, like for me, my thing, I agree with both Nate and Reggie. You know, whenever I heard about this, I had a couple different thoughts on it. One was finally you have a coach who is not wasting these kids' time. Because he could sit there and he could be like, well, you know, if you do this, this, and this, then you'll be good enough. But if he doesn't actually believe that, then why not let these kids go somewhere where they can be productive instead of saying, you get a jersey and it's always going to stay clean because you are never, ever going to touch that field for me. You know, like one popular movie that everybody loves, Rudy. Okay. He doesn't want to have a bunch of teams of Rudies where he's letting them have one play in their senior season and their final game. Like, that's not what he's trying to do with Colorado. He's trying to win national championships.
That's only in the movies.
Yeah, I know. But hey,
you know what kicker? You know what my kicker is? This is a question for you.
Okay.
Are the 65 to 85 kids that he's going to have at the beginning of this season better than the 85 or even the 71 that just left?
30 of them is better than the 85.
Exactamundo.
So this is where my second thought came into play. So I'm glad that he's doing what he's doing. And I have no reason to believe that Deion Sanders is not going to be successful at Colorado, because if you look at the man's track record, he's literally been successful everywhere he's been. From coaching in high school to coaching in college, he has been successful as a coach. However, I have seen it happen on more than one occasion where the folks who are in the ESPN 300, those 300 athletes out of high school, they get a lot of hype behind them. They go to college. Not all of them work out. My concern here would be he lets all these kids go. He gets a top recruiting class, and maybe those kids don't work out through no fault of Deion's, but those kids just don't work out. That to me would be where Colorado could slip and fall, but it's not like they're going to be slipping and falling too hard because they were already on the ground. But I'm just saying that
right.
There's high expectations at Colorado for Deion. So I feel like it's one of those situations where this first season, if they go out there and win 3 games, everyone's going to love him. But 2 years down the road, if they're not winning 7 games, going to a bowl game, then you're going to start hearing those questions. And that's where I just kind of wonder, can Deion not only get the recruits, which I think he can, but can he develop?
We know he can do that. He's going to get the recruits just off of his name, just off of who he was and what he stands for. Any defensive back, me, myself as well, coming up, we all wanted to be Deion. The reason why we wore do-rags on our head, we wanted to be Deion. The reason why we wore half-cut jerseys, the short six-packs, we wanted to be Deion. The reason why we wore 21, we wanted to be Deion. The gloves, the reason why we high-step, you wanted to be Deion. It's very rare that you have a guy who, all the way from back then in the 80s, all this, it still impacts the game 40 years later, even to the way his name and the way kids dress and jersey numbers on different teams. Like 21 is Deion. If you're a DB, you want 21. Just like every DB wants number 2. Everybody wants to be Charles Woodson.
You know what? I'm going to make a bold statement. The impact that Deion Sanders has in football is almost equivalent to the impact that Kobe had or has in basketball. Like, these are dudes that you want to emulate. These are dudes that you listen, you hang on every word that they say. Now, of course, Deion has a little bit more of an ego, and that's saying a lot because Kobe had an ego too. But
I would say Mike. I would use Mike more instead of Kobe, though.
But I was saying their second act is so great.
Yeah.
That it makes it to where you just, these are the guys that are, they basically putting everything, they put everything on the map.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, you think about college football right now, you're thinking about Deion Sanders.
Yeah. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to bring it up, because I know that there are going to be people out there who are going to be like, hey, I wonder what the guys might think about this. You know, because in a few years from now, if all goes well, you're going to be looking at Shedeur Sanders as potentially a first-round draft pick.
Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter as a first-round draft. If all goes well, we'll see.
You got that. You got so basically what Deion did in back-to-back seasons, he got the number one corner in both classes. He got McCain this year, who was number one. You got Travis Hunter, who was number one last year. You got the number one dual threat quarterback, which happened to be your son, which everybody knew was going to happen. But not only that, he got the number one corner in the transfer portal going to Colorado.
Right. So, like I said, I'll be curious to see how this whole thing works out. I just know that for my purposes, I think a lot of people are freaking out and they don't need to. But when they see 71 players mass exiting out of a program, I get why they're a little bit concerned, but at the same time, he's got to make room for his guys, and that's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, and I didn't have really much to say about it, but when Reggie said that they only won one damn game last year, that was pretty much, I don't got shit to say about it. Not even
listen, I got another one for you, Reg.
He's on the phone call. Quick. He's on the phone call.
On the phone call.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, I was going to get the actual number, but you talk about the attendance for a college game. I know Colorado was at the bottom of the nation in attendance. Even the students didn't want to go see them play. Hell, I don't even think they had cheerleaders last year.
Probably had the Louisiana Mud Dogs cheerleaders.
Look, that's what I was gonna say. Hey, look, they down there drinking bouillon and and whiskey on the sideline. Ain't nobody cheering. They halfway drunk from the frat parties.
Man.
So we gonna have to see. Just wanted to wait and see.
So the spring game, the actual attendance of the spring game, 47,277 people, or 88% of the stadium was full.
That was that 80. Like that's crazy.
I mean, they literally paid to watch them play with themselves. Which, as I say that sounds wrong, but you get what I'm. Come on.
Okay, Charles Barkley.
Anyway,
okay, Charles Barkley.
Only Colorado.com. Anyway, we. Only buffs. Anyway, want to say hello to comedian Shay B, who says, "Hey, family," and hello to Bill Locker, who says, "What's good, fellas?" And again, we wanted to do an episode for you. We feel kind of bad because the schedule comes out on Thursday night, but we do our show on Tuesday. So we're looking forward to the schedule release just as much as you are, but we don't want to talk about it when we don't know all the details. We'll find them out on Thursday. Maybe we can try to squeeze in another live stream whenever that happens.
Yeah, we might be able to do it. Like I say, I mean, we know the teams that we're going to play. Yeah. We just don't know the time slots. So, so that's the one thing that, we want to let people know. Like, yes, the schedules are, as far as who we're going to play, those come out, relatively early. That's been out maybe 3-4 months. We knew who we were going to play. It's just where we're going to play. Like now, from what I've seen, the Lions have been petitioned to have 5 primetime games, which is going to be huge.
That would be nice. That would be nice.
So now, as we say, everybody on the bandwagon.
But I hate when we play primetime, though, Nate.
Listen, ironically, we would.
They be doing this dirt. They be doing this. The referees do us dirty and win the whole world.
Hey, they do. But the crazy part, on prime time, we be beating ass on prime time.
Yeah.
Just remember though, for Lions fans out there, 5 primetime games, at least if they're doing it the way they used to do it, and I don't know if they're still doing it or not, but one of our primetime games that would always count as one is Thanksgiving Day, which I love our Thanksgiving Day broadcast. I just hope we don't play the Bears again. Like for me, I feel like that Thanksgiving Day game, and this wasn't on the schedule, so I'll be brief about this, but that Thanksgiving Day game, I feel like we should play somebody from the AFC that we don't normally get a chance to play. Because it's traditionally speaking, everybody watches that game on Thanksgiving, even if they're not football fans. So why not make it exciting instead of have us play the Bears, who are always in hibernation by the time that
Or
you
No, Elijah. Hold on, Nate. I disagree. There is nothing like eating turkey after you done smack the Bears around. I disagree. I disagree.
I'm gonna say, hey, look, I totally agree. It's nothing like eating turkey after a dominating win. You sit there, your drinks taste a little bit better. The macaroni go down a little bit, a little bit better. Ham is a little bit extra juicy,
Yeah, all right, man. No. Bring the Bears, please.
I'm just saying, Lions versus the Chiefs, Lions versus the Jaguars.
We beat the shit out of them too. I ain't been saying, remember, we beat the shit out of them too, and they made the damn playoffs.
No Mahomes, no Josh Allen, please. I don't care. Bring Kirk Cousins' ass. I don't care, but no, I don't.
So Bobby wants a guarantee.
No.
Bobby wants a guarantee.
I want a guarantee W. You haven't spent a lifetime in front of relatives that are not Detroit Lions fans, and they get their ass whooped.
No,
it's the Thanksgivings where we win that are the best. So if they have the Bears every year, that is a good thing to me.
But see, my father-in-law is a Bills fan. So I got to watch last season's heartbreak with my father-in-law, who just made fun of me the entire time. So it was one of those things. But
so that's why we should play the Bears. You won't have to experience that.
The other thing that I would throw out there just real quick, and it's never going to happen, but it's something that I would love to see. Can we please, just once for a Thanksgiving halftime show, can we please get Eminem? Please? He's a Lions fan. He's been to the facility.
What normally Eminem does, Eminem has done a lot. When I say he's done a couple of Thanksgiving games, he has, Big Sean has. So it's one of them, like, I'm not trying to be funny, but I don't want to see Bob Seger. Like
that's what I'm saying though, because
if they pull Kid Rock out again,
that's what I'm saying. Because for 3 years in a row, it was like, here's Kid Rock, and I'm like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, sorry, like I don't want to see Kid Rock in that Confederate flag. Sorry, guys.
There's only so many times I can go up against the wind, right?
I'd rather see T Grizzly and Sada Baby.
Sada Baby? Who's that?
Sada Baby. Well, ironically, T. It's so hard for me to call him T Grizzly because I've been knowing him since he's a little guy. Terry, him and my brother are like this. Like, it was one of them taking him to the school every day, and they got on my everlasting nerves. But
didn't he go to Cody?
Yeah, huh?
Didn't he go to Cody?
Yeah. He went to Cody, Finkel, how you say T Grizzly and Finkel J Money and Bright Malone. That's my little brother and my little guy brother.
And you know who I would love even more than Eminem? And I don't even know if you guys know about this guy or not, but I would love for John Connor to do it. But he cusses too much in his songs, and you would look on TV.
And look, when I hear John Connor, only thing I want to say is "Hasta la vista, baby," or "I'll be back."
Yeah,
you should look him up.
For full disclosure, who the hell is that?
So John Connor was somebody who was briefly signed to Aftermath Records. He's out of Flint, Michigan, and he had some really, really awesome tracks, in my opinion. One's called 2 Weeks Notice. There's another one called American Pie. He also went and did a whole mixtape of Eminem covers where he took the Eminem beats and then he put his own verses on top of them. But he's somebody that I really like. But yeah, John Connor,
I've never heard of this guy. Now I'm gonna have to do some research.
Yeah, I'll send you some tracks. Because he's good. I like him. You know
what? Stevie Wonder's still alive. I'd rather have Stevie Wonder.
Yes. Reggie. Yes.
Hey,
So,
hey, Reggie hit that. Reggie hit that idea with an F5.
Yeah. Hey, don't do me like that, man. Don't do me like that ever again, man. I wasn't ready,
okay,
man.
Where
so
D12 at?
yeah, hey, you know what? I would take that. I would take that. If
I would
that's,
Yeah.
if
not
that's the
take that.
closest we could get to Eminem, I would
No,
take
the
that.
world,
Man, I will go right out on
the
the
world
porch
does
and
not
smoke
need
a
to see
blunt on that.
Basar on the big
Dude.
screen.
Or Bad Meets Evil. I could do that too.
I would do Royce the 5'9" though.
Yeah. Well, Royce is always doing something for the city, though. Like
Yeah.
always.
So he can do this as well. Come on, Chicago Bears and Royston. Let's work this out. We got it. Now, if this ends up happening, we're gonna have to cut this clip. Anyway, so
Yeah. Hey, I still haven't heard enough to keep me from not walking on the porch and smoke my blunt.
We're gonna mess around. We're gonna mess around and get 42 dubs.
Lord Jesus Christ.
So
Lord have
speaking of
mercy.
somebody who was always successful on Thanksgiving, Calvin Johnson. Nate, you got more on that.
Yeah, well, Calvin Johnson and his foundation, man, this is what I really wanted people to understand. Like I say, when everything fell out as far as him and the team, and what did the team wanted him to pay back his signing bonus or a portion of it, it really, really stained that relationship. Like this is one of the greatest wide receivers of our era, of his era, right when he got drafted, where, Megatron, like he completely, man, took the lead by storm, and our ownership completely botched that relationship. He was no longer, and he still was in the city, but his foundation from what he was doing and his camp, he started to hold in Georgia. But this year, with the effort and the rebuilding of that relationship by Sheila Hamp Ford, he is using the Lions practice facility, which is huge. It's huge. It's one of them getting him back into, the Lions stadium, getting him back into the facility, getting him back around the players. And who knows, you may see him as a wide receiver coach or something, even if that's where he wants to go. I don't know. I know right now he's making more money off his, in the words of Reggie, his pookie lot. So, but hey, how can you not be engaged and when Calvin Johnson is in the house? Everybody, all his highlights. I doubt anyone's ever going to wear that number 81 because of that. But CJ's back at the crib. Hey man, I love it. I love it. He does so much things, so many different things for the kids and all his camps. Man, I love it. I am so happy to see him back being around the Lions facility.
I'm just happy they repair relationships with both him and Barry. And you got to have both him and Barry in the house, because that to not have them affiliated with the organization is criminal.
It should have
never happened in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they back and they in full effect, they in commercials, they doing
meeting the draft picks and stuff. That was too cool, man.
Everything. It's just a beautiful thing to see.
Yes, it is.
And I also want to give a special shout out to somebody who Calvin specifically mentioned quite a few times. Anytime he got asked about this on the Pat McAfee show or anywhere else, he always mentioned somebody who probably doesn't get enough credit. Mike Disner, Chief Operating Officer for the Detroit Lions. He said that Mike Disner has been paramount when it comes to getting him back in the building. So I do want to make sure that Sheila Ford Hamp gets credit, obviously, but I also want to make sure that Mike gets his credit, because you never hear that name. So Mike Disner, if you're watching the show by any chance, thank you. Thank you for getting my favorite player back in the house. Because again, I became a Lions fan because of Calvin Johnson, because I was following him to whatever pro team he went to, and he went to the Lions, and I've stayed a Lions fan since. So I'm super excited to see him back in the building. And I got to say too, we were talking off the air about kind of how Calvin was kind of demonized after he left. And I would encourage people to go and watch, and you can find this specific clip I'm talking about on YouTube, but go watch Calvin talking about his later years with the Lions, because there's moments where him and Stafford both tell us, listen, there were games out there where Calvin couldn't barely run at all. He went out there and said, I will be a decoy. Just don't throw the ball my way because I want this team to succeed.
Yeah.
You don't see that happen too much anymore. So
No.
I've always loved
He's
Calvin.
the complete
So I'm happy to see that.
complete opposite of a diva.
Yeah.
The complete opposite. Matt, actually, sometimes to a fault. Sometimes you did want Calvin to say something or step up and verbalize his displeasure with what was going on. But him and Barry, they cut from the same cloth, man. They just these uber talented guys with all the humility in the world. And to demonize them or to make it seem like, it's their fault that this happened or that fault, that's stupid. And the only other person I know that faced something that egregious in the city of Detroit is Joe Dumars. And he cut from that same cloth too. Extremely humble, doing whatever he can for the city, and people want to throw him under the bus. It don't make sense, man. These are icons, man. These are guys that, how many people have followed these dudes and tried to emulate these dudes because of how great they are? And you want to they're trying to throw them under the bus like we don't want something. Ridiculous.
And as far as Calvin coming back to the team, obviously, we did a statue for Barry. I would imagine at some point there'll probably be some sort of conversation about that for Calvin as well, which I think would be, I think that would be pretty cool if that's something that ends up happening. I don't know that it will, but hey, the conversation can start now that relationship seems to be at least better, at least that they're on speaking terms. And I will say quickly for one of our new draft picks, in the 3 years that I've followed Jahmyr Gibbs, he's very much like a Calvin Johnson. He comes in, he does his work. He's not really that talkative. And you probably noticed that if you've been watching any of the press conferences with him, you're like, come on, kid, open up just a little bit. But
I can't wait to see that kid hit the ground.
It's hit the ground running, literally.
Literally, dog. I cannot wait because for people who don't watch our show and don't know just how much you put us onto him, to where, like I say, when they drafted him, like our excitement was through the roof. Like what? like people, and I've seen so many people. Oh well, why didn't they take Bijan? This and that. That for the people who don't know, I want to let people know this. This is from the Lions themselves. They were going to take Jahmyr Gibbs at 6, even if Witherspoon was there. But because they threw up a deal that got them extra picks, he said, oh yeah, I can go back to 12, but I know I'm not going back further than that because I won't get him. This is how smart Brad Holmes was. He traded back and still got his guy and still got additional picks. Like if people want to complain about it, look at it this way. You got the number 1 safety off the board. You could have went Brian Branch at 6 in that case, if that's what or Brian Branch at 12, Jahmyr Gibbs at 18, Jack Campbell at 30, whatever, and went backwards and nobody would say anything. It would be the same guys.
Yeah.
But just a different spot where they drafted and nobody would say anything. This is why it kills me. And we tell people, do your own research. Stop listening and looking at what the CBS and all these guys do. If you do your own research and you really see how these guys fit, what they do, not just a highlight, but actually look at them versus other top guys and see how they perform, you wouldn't have a problem with none of the picks at all. You'll be as happy as we are.
And I will say that there's actually an interview on the Detroit Lions YouTube channel. Go check it out. It's a very good interview. About 30-minute interview where Tim Twentyman interviews Brad Holmes, and they talk about everything that Nate was just talking about. He goes in depth on some of the different guys that they drafted. I would encourage you to check that video out. It's worth your time. And with that, We alluded to the revamped secondary. This is kind of our last topic that we were going to discuss tonight. Nate,
can I say something about the Calvin Johnson thing real quick before we even...
Absolutely. Go ahead, Big Bob.
Yeah. Calvin Johnson was like one of the reasons that I could watch them. Like,
I thought you were
even
saying
though
the
I
reason
know
you started smoking.
reason why I started smoking was, you know, my glaucoma. But anyway, that Calvin Johnson. Yeah, shut up. Yeah, hey, when he got the dispensary, I was like, damn, that's my boy. You go ahead, boy. I was more excited about the damn dispensary than connecting back with the Lions. But anyway, Calvin Johnson was one of the reasons why I could like always go into a game and think like, damn, we got a shot. If we can just, you know, with Calvin Johnson, I never feel like we never had a shot to win the game. And the fact that he left and then they took his money and stuff, it made me hard to even be a Lions fan. And then how they did Caldwell. So the part I was really actually getting to how fans perceive these players is just like Nate said. You got to have your own interpretation because a lot of these writers and stuff, they in cahoots with the Lions to, you know, PR, not you know, just to say stuff to make the Lions look good in the outcome. But as you know, regular guys, we know Calvin Johnson put in enough work. Even if the damn dude retired, you should never. That's how dare you ask for any of that money back. It was a lot of times people walking through them turnstiles just to see him, not to think the Lions was going to win. But that's it, man. I'm just glad they can get it back together, man, because we don't got that many legends as far as for the new school Lions. So you got to treat them right.
So Nate,
yes.
you got some breaking news, I guess, about one of our players and something they're doing. It's not suspension worthy, right?
Nah, not even. But guess what? People still gonna find a way to complain about it one way or another. So Jameson Williams was in the inner city today. You know, and anybody, you know, if you're in the inner city when you're driving around, there's kids always out on the freeways trying to sell water. You know, instead of out doing other things, they're out selling dollar waters, chips, you know, just trying to make a little side money for themselves. And we had our receiver, our very, very hopefully high receiver, who we have a lot of expectations for. Jameson Williams was out in the city today buying waters from kids, you know, paying more than just $1, just to, you know, see these kids, you know, see them with a smile, giving out $100, you know, engaging in the inner city. So to me, man, that was, you know, man, that was good, you know, because everybody was only highlighting the bad thing. Oh, well, he's dumb. He did this. He did that. He did this. He wants the jersey. But so what? He's a good kid who always has said, I'm going to reach out. I'm going to reach back to the community. I'm going to give back to the community. I love kids, and I'm going to do this. And, man, that's what he was doing today. And it was very good to see. So y'all can find that video out.
Is this suspension repealable? I mean, can he get that reduced? Is they reducing it?
Appeal it? I mean, they can. I don't know if it will be. But I know it did go to the NFL Players Union. They were talking about appealing the suspension, but again, I mean, I don't know how that's going to go. We'll probably know before the season starts. But it definitely did. It definitely did go to the NFL Player Association and let them do it to see what they could do about it. But I just want to make sure. People know that hey, yeah, he did something that was foolish and he's young. Hey, yeah, I should have waited 100 more feet until I got out of the parking lot. But hey, some stuff happens.
He did not break the law. He broke an NFL damn rule. Leave him alone.
It was a technicality because, again, he was leaving the voluntary workout and he was not off the ground yet, meaning he was not on the street. He was leaving the building when he placed the bet. Guess what? That's why I said it was a technicality. He wasn't in the building. He was in the parking lot. Mm-hmm. But again, you know how it is. And then it went from that to people calling him stupid. People, saying he's dumb and he's hurting the team. It was something that was a technicality. Hopefully he has learned for it. He's learned from it. We're still going to continue to move forward. And to be honest, the way this team is built, I still think we still gonna be fucking good, regardless of his 6 games or not.
So just real quick, fellas, we got some more comments, and then we'll get to our last topic here. So Jason Frick says, hey, everyone. He says, what's up, Bobby? Apparently, Jason went to the dispensaries in Monroe a couple months ago. He said that they do that in Atlanta. Jason's pretty much been commenting like everything we say. So, Jason, thank you for that. We appreciate it.
Jason, man, if we remember, Jason was on a nice winning streak when it came to these prizes in the beginning of the year when it came to that wheel.
And for folks who are maybe watching their first On the Hunt episode, tonight's kind of a short one. Usually we have a lot more for you, but we wanted to come to you with something so we could stay consistent tonight. So I want to say thank you to the fellows for giving their time so we could do this. And with that, let's get to our last topic here so that folks can get to their families tonight. We're going to talk about that revamped secondary because we know all things go through Detroit, and we're hoping that no passes get through our secondary. Nate, tell us about this secondary. Should folks be excited? And what type of difference do you think this is going to make from last season?
Man, barring any injury, that secondary should be labeled no-fly zone. Like, you've got speed, you have coverage ability, you have veteran leadership, you have a ball hawk secondary. Like, it's crazy. These guys, and like I was saying I can see where a lot of formation changes are going to be. And keep in mind, so you have my expectation for what I think you're going to see Emmanuel Mosley and Cam Sutton on the outside. Your nickel slot back is going to be Jerry Jacobs. Then, your safeties, you have Kirby Joseph, Charlie Gardner Jr., you have Brian Branch. You do still have Melifonwu, but I think they said Melifonwu is going to be making a transition from safety to corner. So that's going to be good, just to see it, because again, just like his brother, they are athletic freaks when it comes to size, speed, length. It's just about putting the technique and things together. But like I say, man, I can see a hell of a formation where I can see a 2-3-6, where you have your nose tackle, your under tackle, you have your 3 linebackers, and then you have 6 DBs, which is you're going to cover a lot of space. You run a zone with that. With this amount of speed, you can run zone, you can run man, you can also, when we're playing these mobile quarterbacks, these guys can spy that mobile quarterback now. So we shouldn't have all these games when Justin Fields 160 something yards or Jalen Hurts 100 yards in the first quarter. These type of things should really, really be wiped out or, brought down a significant amount. So I am very, 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 very hyped about it. Bobby, what you thinking?
Man, to be honest, just in the off season, working where I work at, you always have random conversations about football and stuff. And the first thing people bring up saying, man, they Lions look like they fixed that secondary. I'll be hearing 49ers fans mad about Mosley. We got I heard a Pittsburgh fan talking about how Sutton is a good player, and the same thing with Gardner Johnson. So people mad they leaving. Very rarely the Lions getting the guys that people happy to get rid of them.
Right.
Now I hear people being mad, so it automatically let me know we upgrade the talent. And that secondary was so bad, especially the damn just the back end totally. But they all was hitters. They just couldn't cover sometimes. That pissed me off. But we got guys that's been with we got guys that been with Aaron Glenn with the linebackers with Anzalone, Gardner Johnson in the back end. So, them two together, they got a good combination, and they'll be able to teach these youngsters who are athletic, but just always in the wrong spot to certain keys to make sure they butt stay online. So that's very, I love that part about the secondary. And another thing too, like we had a pretty decent damn pass rush if the secondary was still trash, and that pass rush was pretty good. So we got rid of a lot of guys back there, man. Via trade or via the motherfucking Uncle Phil getting their ass out of there. Either way, they out.
Not the Uncle Phil.
Yeah, Uncle Phil used to throw just out, didn't he? Like, so I'm happy with that, man. It makes me a happier Lions fan to know that I'm sitting up here watching this trash secondary, the general manager up here watching this trash secondary, and now the trash is leaving, and we got better players. Not only we got vets, we got good youngsters too that come in to teach them guys. Because even though Kirby Joseph was part of that bad secondary, he was a bright light on there though, especially with. So imagine him getting the proper pre-snap keys and how to line, and he can, you know what I mean? He can make everybody else around him better, and I really think he do that anyway. Because even with us lacking experience back there with Tracy Walker injured, Kirby Joseph stepped in and was that guy to get guys in the right position, and let alone himself being in the right position. So I'm excited about the secondary. I don't know about the no fly zone thing though, but because I want to see him in action first, Nate. But shoot, ain't no way but up messing with that dang on secondary. So so hopefully we can get these tight ends covered, and hopefully get these tight ends covered, and hopefully we can get these quarterbacks from running on us too, because it seemed like if we wasn't giving up the pass, we was letting the quarterback on third and long run to the damn sticks and run out of bounds. So I used to kill me with that. So I'm hey man, I'm just ecstatic, man, that we actually did something. Like I'm ecstatic and surprised because usually you don't have the opportunity to flip your whole secondary in one offseason like he did. That's pretty much working your chess pieces and getting these extra picks that people mad about and all this other stuff. So, and that's another thing too I want to bring up real quick. Even though Brad Holmes getting these extra picks, if you notice all his picks contribute. So you just giving them more guys to contribute. So I think, like you said on episode 32, brother, let him cook. Hey, let that man cook.
Let him cook.
Let that man cook, because the secondary looked night and day better already on paper. How about you, Elijah? I know you probably got, or I don't know who was it on, but.
So my question would be, and I do want to get Reggie's thoughts. So what I'll do is I'll toss it to Reggie real quick, then Reggie toss it back to me, okay?
So significant. This is the kind of overhaul you got and what you got coming in this year. These dudes had 16 interceptions between them last year. That's what we have coming into this year now.
Total.
The caliber of guys that we got coming in. So right now you have an effective pass rush. You have a more effective linebacker crew. And then you add young potential along with proven potential in your secondary. Not just anybody. You got dudes that will hit you. You got dudes that will pick you off if you making them ill-advised throws. And now you got, a middle linebacker that has the potential to put everybody where they need to be. So if you got a problem with what they did, Nate, they smoking that Pookie lot.
Reggie, boy.
I knew it was coming.
Reggie, man.
So Nate, here's my question, and I'll try to keep it somewhat brief because I know we're on a time crunch here. By the way, everybody watching this video right now, it says we got 6 people watching. Do me a favor real quick. Like this video, okay? Like this video because for some reason YouTube likes to bury our videos if we don't get likes on them. So like that video for me. I would greatly appreciate it. So with the fellas. Nate, here's my question, okay? You had Kirby, you got Walker. They're both coming into this season. And then you got Branch and you got Gardner Johnson. What's going to be the determining factor, in your opinion, over the course of this offseason as to who our 2 starting safeties are going to be the majority of the time? And how do you work that rotation so that everybody gets in?
Well, Gardner Johnson, number one, is versatile. So, wait.
You're still with us.
Okay, so by Gardner Johnson being able to play that position at the line and play that deep end, his range is crazy. His range is crazy. So Tracy Walker coming off that ACL, even though it happened earlier in the year, you're talking about what he does best. Tracy Walker, I don't think he's that ball hawk, but you can use him at that line like they were doing with Mike Hughes. So you can see Tracy Walker blitzing, Tracy Walker covering a tight end coming out that backfield, or that H-back position. And you've got Charlie Gardner roaming. So it's one of them where it could be package-based because the talent and the versatility is there.
Okay. And so, how much do you think Brian Branch, I mean, everybody's excited about this kid. How much do you think he actually sees the field in that room? Or is it going to be more like we'll use you when we use you, otherwise
I think with him, I think you're probably going to see him starting out on special teams first.
Okay.
Just to, keep him in game shape, keep him game ready. But he's also one of those guys, like, will you be able to keep him off the field, a la Rodrigo? So, again, we won't know. We're going to have to see how he comes in, how smart he is, how he grabs the situation, and go from there.
Yeah, because to me, I just find it to be very interesting because in most defensive formations, you only have 2 safety spots. So you got 4 guys who are all very good at that position, which is, hey, I'm happy to have that problem. But it's like, okay, how do we work them all in? And if we're not going to
that's the beauty, because these aren't your prototypical safeties. Right. Normally you have your strong and you have your free, but these guys are interchangeable, where one, they're all good hands. They all have good hands. They're all very willing tacklers. So you can drop and blitz. You can do so many different things. And they're all very good blitzers as well. So you can fake blitzes. You can drop them back. Like I said, you can use dual spies, and that's what I'm saying. It's going to be crazy. And it's going to be very, very interesting to see what Aaron Glenn comes up with this amount of talent. That's why I brought up that formation of the 2-3-6. Because again, Gardner Johnson, you can, and then when you're talking about zones, you have to be able to pass a guy off to another capable guy and, to cover your area. And you're talking about the speed. So everybody's zone should be wider. So, man, if you're late on these throws, if you're doing anticipation throws, you may be in trouble. And as we know, hey, if I can't tell you the last time we really got coverage sacks because the secondary was locked up. So
here's kind of a follow-up question, and then we'll probably go to closing remarks here. Every year when they go to cut down the roster, and we've got months before this happens, okay? So right. I don't take anybody out. But I do want to ask this question. Every year when it goes to roster cuts, you always hear about all these different teams having to figure out what positions are going to carry heavy and what
Yeah.
positions are going to carry light. On our defense
Ooh.
right now, we have a bunch of D linemen that we like.
Ooh.
We got some linebackers that we like. We got some corners and safeties. If you had to pick a position on our defense that you'd say, you know what, we want everybody, outside of those folks that you might add and, just to fill some spots, but we want everybody. We want to go heavy in this spot. What is that spot for you on defense?
Secondary. It's secondary. Because the D line, when you're talking about our D line, you want to get those guys, that generate the pressure, but then you have a lot of guys who have underperformed on that D line. You've got these sometiming guys. You got Romeo Aguara, his brother Julian. You have Bugs. You have Kaminsky.
Charles Harris when he's healthy.
Yeah, they re-signed Benito Jones. You got Aiden. Then, now the thing where the Lions might, because it all depends on, I think James Houston, if they're going to look at his position as a linebacker position / rush in or just straight D in. So that's going to be key. Then you've got Levi. So you got Aleem McNeil. So, but I think if you have the most spot where you have guys that you would be willing to separate from, is going to be the D line versus the secondary.
So if I'm looking at the entire team, Nate, I think, and this is just a prediction, so nobody get mad at me, I think you will see the Lions carry less receivers.
Yeah.
So they can carry more defensive talent.
Agree. I definitely agree. You think last year they only carried 5.
Right.
They only carried 5, but they carried a bunch of running backs. So I think the running back room is going to be a lot smaller. They had 6 running backs last year.
Yeah,
they carried 5.
I'm thinking running back room just right now as it sits May 9th, 2023. I'm thinking it's going to end up being, as long as these guys stay healthy, Gibbs, Montgomery, and Mo. And I think everybody else in the running back room is gone.
Yeah, Gibbs, Montgomery, and Mo. Then your tight end room. So you're going to most likely you're going to have Laporta. You're going to have Brock Wright. You're going to have James Mitchell. So Zerkstra is most likely going to be the odd man out.
Mm-hmm.
When you're talking about
that. I don't know, man. He catch passes, man. He got good hands.
He does, but the thing about that is that's where Laporta comes in. Laporta catches. Laporta is a tank. He's the opposite of Hockenson with the ball, where Hockenson was trying to jump over people. Laporta's just gonna run through you and throw you to the side, a la George Kittle. So I like that. I do like that about it. And then the more and more I looked at it, he's a better blocker than what I thought, but he's not that mauler that they said TJ Hawkins shit was. They didn't label him with that. But he is a good blocker. And when you have this type of coaching staff that really, really predicates on blocking, the wide receivers, the running backs, like he can only get better. Like I said, he's not a mauler. He ain't finna go out and not, I think Zylstra is the odd man out there. Benito Jones is going to be the odd man out. I think Romeo Aguara is going to be an odd man out. I think Derek Barnes may be an odd man out. I think that's a lot of guys, man. If Levi doesn't get his shit together,
we got some real competition. We started to get some real.
It's good. It's a good thing to have. We haven't had this since you had Ndamukong Suh, and you had that versatile defensive line where you had James Jones, Willie Young, Mosley. You had Cliff Averill at one point. So you had all those guys on that defensive line too. So
they might shave some of these guards too. But I'm looking at it.
So personal opinion here, and then we're going to go to Reggie for closing remarks. We'll go Reggie, Nate, Bobby, and then Bobby toss it back to me for closing remarks. But for my just final thoughts here, I think James Houston's going to be the starting defensive end opposite Aiden Hutchinson. I think that Brad Holmes has got so much faith in James and what he did last season that there's no reason not to give him that opportunity. I think he earns it this offseason. So I think he's that other defensive end outside of Aiden Hutchinson. Inside, I think it's Aleem McNeil. And I'm really, really hoping that Levi is finally healthy, because I was excited when they drafted that kid after doing a little bit of research on him and his time in Washington. So if he's healthy, I think you could see that D-line be Hutchinson, McNeil, Levi, and James Houston. That's what I'm thinking might happen. But Reggie, let's toss it over to you for closing remarks, my friend. What do you got for us?
Once again, I'm just excited, man. Like, everything is falling in a way where if you're a Lions fan, you can see that light at the end of the tunnel, where you actually see success instead of years of futility and anger and disappointment. Aaron Rodgers is no longer inside of the division. The Vikings are nothing to be scared of. The Bears are nothing to be scared of. We're actually looking like the cream of the crop when it comes to the NFC North. And I can't remember the last time we were looked at in that way. I think the last time, we never really been looked at like that. So, it's real nasty, man. And then you add in all this young talent. You got a GM that's literally just look like he can't miss. Having to do the can't miss, bringing in all this talent, whether it's by trades and stuff, they still got another, 20, 25 million in cap room. So just in case somebody want to let somebody go, you can still grab something. So it's crazy. I never thought I would be this excited as a Lions fan. So I'm good. How you feeling, Nate?
So Nate had to take a quick call. We're going to toss it over to Bobby. Bobby, your final remarks, my friend, for tonight.
Man, the shoot. Hey, let me get a double shot at what Reggie just had, because I kind of feel it, man. This is all about optimism. You have no, man, it's been years, the Quinn Trisha years where I just wasn't even excited about even looking at them, though. So we came a long way since there. We got actual, like, we've all as fans, especially real diehard fans as ourselves, we all took the preseason real serious. You know what I mean? Looking at these position battles and whatnot, and we are actually got some real decisions. I know we all say that. We say that every year as fans. Is we're gonna keep this guy? Is gonna keep this guy? We really starting to let go guys. That career ain't over. Usually we let go guys, they going off to do what they went to school to study for, So now we getting guys that will continue to have NFL careers. And just like you was talking about with Deion, you probably be good, but you're not going to be good here. We're good somewhere else, kind of thing. So that's pretty much it, brother. How about your final thoughts, big dog?
That was a great segue. I got to say, that was a nice way to tie everything up there, Bobby. Bringing our first topic in to our last topic. That was great. That was awesome.
Thanks, brother. Thank you.
Got to cut that out for the highlight reel. That was pretty sweet.
Oh, you go. Okay, I'll let you do it. You do it, okay?
So I want to say a couple things, actually. Some lines related, some not, and then we'll get out of here. So for Jason Frick, one of our longtime supporters of the On the Hump podcast, he said in the comments,
one of my day one brothers, Jason Frick. Thank you, brother.
He said he started his own business. So I want to say congratulations to Jason. That's a huge step. So congratulations to him on starting his own business. I want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in to tonight's episode. And I just want to throw out there a little bit of a plug for the other things we have on this channel. And I would encourage our Lions fans to check out some of the other things. Last weekend, we actually released a teaser trailer for my second feature film, Captain Corpse. You can go check out that trailer. It's about 2 minutes long. It should be right at the top of our YouTube channel. If you can check that out for me, leave a comment of what you think, and like that video, I would greatly appreciate that, as we're trying to get the word out about that space comedy that we have. Again, if you like Spaceballs, if you like Galaxy Quest, you're probably going to really enjoy Captain Corpse. And again, it's a teaser trailer, so check that out. We also have another show that I've been doing called Movies That Move Me. As you guys know, I'm a filmmaker. So on this show, what I do is I talk about the movies that made me want to be a filmmaker. You might be surprised at some of my movie tastes. You can check out that series. It's actually right here on the YouTube channel. We've already released 3 episodes of it, so go check that out. And just while you're, checking out those 2 things I just told you about, check out the rest of the YouTube channel too. You might see some stuff on there that you, find that you really enjoy. As we're adding more shows to the studio family, I'm super excited about it. We hope that you are too. So we are on our way to 1,000 subscribers. So I'm going to say whatever YouTuber says. Like, comment, and subscribe. As of tonight, we're at 378. We got to get to 1,000. So if you can help us by telling folks to subscribe, we would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Don't forget, we also have an On the Hunt podcast Facebook page. You can check that out as well. Trying to get to 1,000 likes over there as well. So with all that being said, for Nate Rucker, Reggie Funches, the #1 Lions fan, Mr. Bobby Bless, and for me, Elijah Winfrey, have yourself a good night. Be good to yourself. Be good to others in that order. And we'll talk to you real soon. Have yourself